And it doesn't matter what I go through. Jeez, Rick. Ghostbuster belts. This one's mine. And these are my belt fobs, right? There's 3 of them all together that are standardly used. It's a hook, a D-ring, and then a D-ring with a hook. Actually, it's a weld ring with a hook. I make mine at 1 inch just because I like them a little beefier. If you're going full cannon, they're supposed to be 3/4. They're super easy to make. There's tons of tutorials on how to do them with webbing. I was just going to show you real quick how to do it with leather. It's not difficult. Let me bring you in so you can see what I'm doing. So it's a 3/4 inch leather strap, right? You get these on Amazon. They're pretty inexpensive. You can get them pre-dyed. I didn't because I'm obviously not using leather strap. I'm going to round over the edges just because I think it gives it a cleaner look. You're going to need 2 at 10 and 1 at 6. That's inches, by the way. So let me round over these edges and we'll show you where we're at. Now I have a tool to round over edges. You don't need this. A pair of scissors work just fine. An X-Acto knife, whatever you got. I have the tool, so I'm going to use the tool. There's too much vibration in my table. Everything seems to be bouncing. I need something I can put that's direct to the ground. Wait 1 second. Let's see if this works. What I need next to me is a little anvil. That's real close to my face. So what's happening is the vibration on the table is dampening all of the thwacking I'm doing. That just makes a nice cleaner edge. It's just slightly rounded. These are way more rounded. Let's see how that looks. So I'll grab my smallest one. It's probably a 1 inch. I think I like that much better. So, I need it right here is what I need. I could just take it to the saw and cut it. World is hard when you're an idiot. I like that. It's nice, it's slightly rounded. Well, it's mostly rounded. I'm going to burnish it, which is just rubbing this. It's compressing the fibers of the leather together, rounding over the edges. I could round over the edges with a not skiving knife, a edge beveler. I have one that goes in my drill that for the life of me I can't find. It's amazing. Garage is a mess. You can't find your things. So I'm going to cut the ends off of these, burnish the edges, and then we'll be right back. So everything's been cut. I did go get my edge beveler and beveled the whole thing. It's a little easier than trying to burnish. Burnishing is just kind of boring. It evens out all of the rough edges though. So, you know, you should do it a little bit. Because like this has got kind of a funky edge right here. Right? A little bit of burnishing. Still has a funky edge, but it's a little smoother. Also, I cut up some lumber and now I have a thing to hammer on. I should give it a foot so it balances evenly. Next step, just keep in mind your hands, or all your skin as a matter of fact, is also made of leather. So if you use leather dye and you don't wear gloves, you're going to have hands that are the same color as the dye. I can't find my my black leather dye. It's probably with my drill powered burnisher. So the next best thing is scuff cover. Stuff works fantastic. Does the same job. It's a little more annoying to work with, but it's not terrible. I should grab a thing of paper towels while I'm here. But safety first. Brand new, never been used. Save that just for you. This might take a couple of coats, but this stuff works fantastic. Something to be said about using actual leather dye for this. But, like I said, use what you got. Right now, this is what I got. Same thing for the rest of them. I'm going to give this about half an hour to dry. Just, you know, because I don't want to transfer anything anywhere. So, see you in a couple seconds. This is a decent amount of time to dry. They may get wet. Well, they're going to get wet. So they may get a, you know, it may reactivate the dye. So, to be on the safe side, just going to put gloves on now. Water softens up the leather, so it's easier to fold and bend. And then when it dries exactly where you want it to. So this one just gets folded in thirds with a little bit of overlap. And then we spring clamp it in place and let it dry. So what I said, right? Water softens the leather so it's easier to bend. That also means if you're out and you have a bunch of leather stuff on you, like hooks like this, and you happen to get wet, you should probably keep an eye on it when you let it dry. Because you don't really want your nice leather equipment you just made get all wet. I'm just eyeballing this. I just want enough room for a snap, and then the ring to have room to move around. Which gives us about 1.5 inches. And for the other side, I just won't need enough room for the snap to attach. So right about there. Again, I'm eyeballing it. I made these a little larger, a little longer than mine, just because it was a little tight on the belt. I wanted a little more movement on these. And of course I am out of spring clamps. So we'll hold this one for a little bit. Let them dry. Give them about 20, 30 minutes. Should be more than enough time. We'll see you then. Look at that. That looks perfect. So, I want all 3 of these holes because I have to drill a hole all the way through all 3. I want them all in line, and the easiest way to do that is to drill them all at once. Not a big fan of a punching leather, so I drill it. Feel it's easier, safer, faster, and it's just as good a job. If I can save myself a bunch of time and not have to fight with things, I'm going to save myself a bunch of time and not fight with things. Although, I'm out of shape or out of practice because clearly drilled the wrong size hole. A lot of people use rivets for this point. I use Chicago screws because, why not? This is this piece. That's the piece that hooks onto this piece so you can carry the wand on your hip instead of on the back. Spengler did it in the second movie. I'm sure somebody's going to correct me. It's just clasp, D-ring. The original one had a weld ring here instead of a D-ring. I like the D-ring look better. That's the weld ring. It just doesn't sit as neatly. I apparently don't have a screwdriver. Weird. Don't really need it. I'll need it when I tighten everything up, but right now. That one's done. Looks fantastic. Only took a little bit of time. Now for these, it's a little different. I don't think I have enough room to put my stud and get a good seat with my snaps. So I'm going to take my skiver, which is, skiving just means cutting. It's cutting in half, right? All it does is thin out the leather a bit. I may re-dye it. I haven't decided. Doesn't really matter. And that is probably enough to make it all fit again. So I'm going to re-dye this. Do the same thing for the next one, and then we'll see you in a second. We're gonna drill a hole. Before I do that, I want to verify the size because I think my my Chicago screws are wider than my we'll just leave that there. Wider than my snaps. So we're gonna use thinner bit. Now, like I said, I want all three of these holes to line up because I want the snap to line up. So I'm just gonna drill through all three at once. The snaps I'm using, I got from the big box store. There's nothing super special about them. They're just snaps. I'm going to take my edge beveler though and clean off some of this flashing. I don't think it's called flashing with leather, but you know, old habits and all that jazz. Back piece goes on. And now we find out whether it's thin enough, and I don't think it is. So I could have gotten thinner leather. Or longer posts. I did neither. So I have to fight with it. And I'm okay with that. Of all the things I have to do in a day, fighting with leather is the least worrisome part of it. Doesn't matter what I go through. In the end, once the prop is done, if the costume piece is done, it's going to look good and I'm going to be very happy with it. And these are going to a buddy of mine, so I want to make sure I do a good job. You know, since they're not mine, it doesn't have to be a fantastic job. That should be just enough. So this one gets, well, it doesn't matter, either a D-ring or a clip. I'm going with the D-ring, just because it was closer. Put the hat on it. I am just using the hardware that came with the snaps. You can go out and get snap hardware and all kinds of crazy flywheel-like equipment. But in the end, you know, just the junk that came with the snap tends to be good enough. Maybe if I can find the junk that came with the snap. You know, I'm very glad I do edited videos, not live streams. Because half the live stream would be me looking for the thing going, I don't know where I put it. What? Be prepared. Goodness no. What, are you crazy? There is no prepared in costuming. That just doesn't happen. Alright, you'll have to excuse me while I go find the piece. It came with the thing. It was sitting right here the whole time. I picked it up. There are days it's real hard to tie my shoes in the morning. We may not quite be there yet. We're about to find out. It's what I call barely. But so these things happen, right? They happen often. When they do happen, you can sit there and be super upset about it. Or you can laugh, because, you know, I'm being an idiot. Luckily, that wasn't my last set. It's pretty close to it, but it's not. He says, hopefully. Alright. Once again, for the second time. So the rivet setters and the snap setters that you can buy, they say, yeah, I don't need them. They're very cool. They do a very good job. I just don't have one. If I had one, I would probably use it more. You know what I mean. So that's it. And this one gets clipped like that, and you can hang your wand from it, because that's what Egon did in the movie. So that's what everybody wants to do. This one is exactly the same. So here they are. It took maybe half an hour, not counting dry time. They look great. These clips were $3 a piece, so it's $6. The D-rings were $1 each, so that's $8. Let's assume $2 for the leather. Probably 10. So let's go 15. 15 altogether. They look fantastic. I'm super happy with them. I tend to do this kind of random stuff all the time. On the belt, here, let's give you a full view of what everything looks like on the belt. I did not do the inside of mine because, yeah, I was in a hurry. I had a premiere to get to. I tend to clip one on one side, one on the other, and I have my gloves on the glove keeper. But there's something about a leather piece that makes everything look a little better. You know what I mean? Yeah, I could have made it out of canvas and it would look fine. But you like the look of leather. It looks a little more finished. It looks a little more real world. And that's kind of what I do here. More real world stuff than just prop stuff. This is your kind of thing? You know, maybe consider subscribing. Maybe not. Whatever. It is what it is. No matter what, thank you for watching the video to this point. See you on the next one.